Learn yourself, master yourself, become your best self.
Alright, let's go ahead and get the podcast pinned. And should be it. Let's get started. Hello, welcome to day 9 of 11 days of yoga, where we've been doing yoga every single day up until May 23rd, which is when I drop my podcast from the mat. Every single day we've been doing something different. We've been unlearning bad notions around yoga, relearning or taking a new practice and putting it into practice, and then we'll close with a lesson from the mat. So today is day 9. It is Kemetic yoga, Kemetic sun salutation. So what we're going to unlearn today is that all yoga comes from India. So yes, the word yoga is a Sanskrit word that does come from India, but the practice of yoga isn't necessarily from that place. There's a guy, I think his name is Yasir Hotep in Chicago, who formulated this practice of Kemetic yoga, and Kemetic yoga comes from India. Now, when you look on the temple walls in Egypt, you will find these postures, and that's what he calls it, or that's what they're called. They're postures that when you do these postures, they actually awaken the same type of energy and they promote the same type of healing that the yogic system of yoga also promotes. So in the last, I don't know how many years since Kemetic yoga first started, the practice has been promoted as Kemetic yoga. But in the yoga sequence, he even tells you that it's not poses, they're not the same as Indian yoga. A lot of the postures are similar, but they're specifically called postures to honor what they are, and then also to honor the Indian tradition. So there are different types of yoga. There's Kemetic yoga, and Kemet is actually the name for Egypt before it was named Egypt, hence the name Kemetic yoga. There's also Egyptian yoga, and apparently there's African yoga. So depending on the school of thought that you've learned from or heard from, you may have seen this practice before, but today I'm going to do a Kemetic sun salutation. And to kind of honor that, even though it's not African, I got on my little Bob Marley, I don't know what this is, halter thing, and I also have on some bands of copper and just this amazing necklace that makes me feel like such a goddess. So we're going to jump on the mat. And if you've been checking out the Vinyasa sequence that I've been doing, Kemetic sun salutation is very, very similar. So we're going to walk through the motions, we're going to do one full set, and then if you want to do more on your own, by all means, this video will be on IGTV. So let's come to the top of your mat. Deep inhale, arms come overhead. When we exhale in this, we're going to exhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose and come down. And the hands come into a pyramid shape on your mat, or as far down as you can go with index fingers and thumbs touching. On the inhale, wrap your arms around your calves. Exhale with a light stretch. Inhale, hands come down by your sides. On the mat, bend your knees. And your left leg is going to go back and touch the mat in a lunge. You immediately drop your knee and uncurl your toes. If this is uncomfortable for your knees, just meet us in a child's pose, but if you can do this on your knees, we'll continue with the Kemetic sun salutation. On an inhale, you're going to use your balance to bring your arms up and your chest up and evenly distribute the weight between your front foot and your back knee. And on the exhale, your hands come together in like a prayer pose over your head. On the inhale, look up towards your hands. And on the exhale, you gently, I would say, bare your throat to the ceiling. You're not dropping your neck back. That can be very painful for some people, but you slightly bare your throat, working on that throat chakra. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, the hands come down to the knees. If you're capable of more flexibility, you can bend forward just a little bit more, opens up that hip flexor on the other side. Or just stay up here where you were. And we're going to inhale again, arms up. Exhale through the nose for hands to come together. Inhale, look up towards your hands. On the exhale, exhale. If you're capable, your arms come down in almost like a goalpost or cactus pose by your sides. Open up that heart area, that heart chakra. Inhale, arms come up. And exhale, we're going to rain the hands down slowly by the foot. Curl the back toe again. And meet both feet in plank and push up to down facing dog. Readjust if need be. You need to walk your feet in a little bit more. From here, we're going to rise up onto the balls of our feet and sink our knees down to the mat. And from here, we're going to come into what looks like a child's pose, but it's actually called Sphinx. So just like you would in child's pose, you're going to drop your bottom to your feet and your arms slide in directly under your shoulders and your hands are spread wide, just like you would see the Sphinx in Egypt. From here, you reach back out to the front. This does take a little bit of strength. You're going to slide through and push up with your arms. If you can't push all the way up, that's okay. Just try your best. We're trying Kemetic Sun Salutation today. From here, curl your toes under and lift your hips back up to what in Kemetic Yoga is called pyramid pose. I know I did say down facing dog. Sorry, we've been doing vinyasa all week. But to a pyramid pose. From here, we're going to do the same thing we did in the beginning on the other side. So your left knee comes through between your hands in a lunge, and you're going to drop your back knee down and uncurl your toes. From here, deep breath in through the nose, and exhale through the nose, hands together. Inhale, look up towards your hands. Exhale, bury your throat to the sky. Inhale, head comes back up. Exhale, your hands come to your knee. Reposition. Lunge forward a little bit more. If that's uncomfortable, you're fine to stay here. We're going to stretch out this side. Same thing. Inhale, arms up through the nose. Exhale, hands come together. Inhale, look up towards your hands. On the exhale, we release our arms down, let gravity do the work slowly, and goalpost or cactus your arms out to the side. Open up that heart center. Inhale, hands come back up. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Curl your toes back under, and we're going to meet our back leg to our front foot. So up off of your knee, and if it takes more than one push, by all means, take your time to get up to the top of your mat and fold over. And on the inhale, bend your knees, arms come up to the side, and inhale all the way up. Hands come over your head. And we're going to bring our hands down by our sides. And just so I'm facing you, this is completely symmetrical. Your feet are together, your hands are spread wide, and you're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. You can also curl your hands into fists. Inhale through the nose, and exhale through the nose. That is a Kemetic Sun Salutation. So some differences that you may have noticed. Everything is very, very symmetrical. I'll do it one more time facing you so you can see how symmetrical the practice is. But all the movements are in complete symmetry to one another. And when you do these movements in complete symmetry, it wakes up energy centers in your body. If you've done sports, Then in sports they always say whatever you do on one side, you got to do on the other side. So a couple of differences in the pose names. This is Sphinx. I'm going to end the practice here as well, instead of doing the same thing on the other leg. And what we would consider down dog. This is pyramid. There's so many other things to Kemetic yoga. There's so many other postures. That's a basic sun salutation. And I remember the first time I did this series of postures, I really did feel this rush of energy through my body. Though I was moving slow, though I wasn't using much physical strength, just doing that salutation, especially for the first time, you really feel this amazing rush of energy. So as we always do, we're gonna close with something from the mat. So as I've been explaining, From the Mat is my podcast, and I'm launching on March 23rd, this Saturday. And lessons from the mat they're these revelations and messages I get from time spent on the mat. Even though we've been doing a very short sequence throughout these now 9 days, I usually spend an hour on my mat, sometimes more. I've spent 2.5 hours on my mat as well. And I have been doing yoga for 10 years as well. So the things that I've learned from the mat, yoga is not just a physical system to strengthen your body. You also expand your mind. You gain discipline. You learn about your physical self as well as your mental and emotional self. And it really has become a system of self-mastery for me. So on that note of self-mastery, there is a new episode up on my podcast. I recorded that yesterday, but for today, what I'm gonna leave you with is, in these uncertain times, are you taking accountability for your actions? The reason the world is in the state that it's in now, it's not because of the coronavirus, it's because of how we handle ourselves and situations and our neighbors when things like this happen. And a lot of other crises, when something happens, we flood to that area to help, to give aid, whatever the case is. But now that everyone can be infected by this, social distancing is definitely a thing, but there's so much, you're really getting to see who people are. You're really getting to see what people are made of. And I'm sorry to say it, but America, we're not looking good right now. So in this time of reflecting, are you holding yourself accountable for your own actions? Are you holding yourself accountable for the space that you do hold in this world, and especially in America, the things that the lifestyle that you live? Are you holding yourself accountable for your part in what's going on right now? I don't want to get too heavy. I would like to leave you with that. And tomorrow is day 10, which is elemental yoga. So tomorrow I will not be teaching class. We're gonna do elemental yoga with Brett Larkin. It is a YouTube video, but I've done this sequence maybe for the last month, at least 2 or 3 times a week for the last month, and it's really amazing. It's a chakra aligning yoga practice. It's only about 20 minutes. And I've really benefited from it. So I just wanted to, even though we've been doing vinyasa basically for about 5 days, I wanted to bring in some other forms of yoga so you all can check that out as well. The link is also in my bio for From the Mat. Go check out the other 9 episodes that are already up, Love and Light.
Learn yourself, master yourself, become your best self.